Hi there, green tree python keepers. This is Webster Wheeler. Today I'm going to be discussing feeding your green tree pythons. I'm going to cover topics such as what they eat, how much to feed, when to feed, situations in which they might not eat, what to do. I'm also going to cover the basics concerning feeding baby green tree pythons, and I'm going to have a demonstration of that shortly. We're going to do that. We're going to tease feed a baby green tree python. I have two babies today. I've got one that I made a video with the other day where I shed the snake. It was its first shed. The second snake shed perfectly, so now they're ready to start feeding. They've shed, and at that point we can start thinking about feeding them. Just to as a disclaimer, I've already fed the one snake that I used in the shedding video, baby that is, and that is the snake we're going to try and feed first. I'm going to discuss the techniques I'm using to try and get the snake interested in its food. And then we're going to move on to its sibling that has never eaten before. It shed. I did notice that it started caudal luring with its tail. That's where they use their tail, and they wiggle it around and make it look like a worm. The baby green tree pythons do. And that attracts prey to them, and they eat that. Most of the prey would be lizards, native lizards and frogs in the wild. In captivity, we feed green tree python babies pretty much exclusively live pinky mice. Green tree pythons, like all snakes, are obligate carnivores. They eat meat. They're also apex predators. So that the two of those things mean they eat meat, they only eat meat, and they eat live meat. Okay? A lot of people don't really understand how nature works. They don't really understand the valuable role that predators play in ecosystems, and that without predators you could not have an ecosystem. The thing that predators do is they prey upon weak animals, old animals, and help strengthen the population as a whole of the animals they're feeding on, as well as controlling them. Green tree pythons in the wild, they first start off eating mostly small lizards, geckos, and that sort of thing, and then as they change to a green color, they move up higher in the trees, and they hunt for mostly rodents and maybe the odd bird if they could catch one. As the snake grows bigger, of course, you increase the size of the prey. And the rule of thumb that you want to use is you want to select prey that's about the same diameter as the snake you're feeding the prey to. In the case of these neonate baby green tree pythons, we're going to be feeding them live pinky mice. So I'll warn you, if you don't want to see a live baby mouse being eaten, or potentially being eaten, then maybe you don't watch this video, because that is what's going to happen. An apex predator is going to kill and eat a live baby mouse, one hopefully for the second time and the other one for the first time. That rule of thumb applies throughout the snake's life. Feed the snake prey that's approximately the same diameter as the snake, and it will work out better that way. If you feed prey that's too small, the snake may become malnourished. It may become disinterested in prey that's too small, and try feeding something bigger, a rat, small rat, or a baby mouse, let's say, or not a baby mouse, an adult mouse, several adult mice, so let's say adult snake. All right, A few special situations where green tree pythons are likely not to eat. Number one is if the environmental conditions are wrong, if they're dehydrated, if they have something going on with them, if they're sick of some sort, if it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. All of these things can affect the green tree python's eating response. A prime example of when green tree pythons are not going to eat, but it's nothing to worry about, is when the females are about to lay eggs. They generally stop feeding, usually at least several weeks before actually laying eggs. And also in the fall, male green tree pythons tend to go off their feed as well. And both male and female mature green tree pythons can do just fine without eating anything for at least several months, no problem. Water is, of course, very important though. Okay, so let's get on and see if we can do a demonstration on feeding these neonates. They were born about, I guess, 15 to 20 days ago. First, we're going to start with this snake right over here. This is the one that shed for me in the system shed video, and that's this guy right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera here so that you can see what I'm doing. It's of course daylight right now, and this snake is sleeping, but that's no problem. We're just going to wake him up. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to get his attention. Let him know that it might be a good idea if he wakes up right now if he wants to get something to eat. I've used all kinds of instruments to feed snakes with, and my instrument of choice for feeding baby green tree pythons is chopsticks, and the reason, and wooden chopsticks. And the reason for that is things like these tweezers and forceps. They're made out of metal. The snake can accidentally hit that with his teeth if it strikes really hard, break a tooth, and that might not be so good. That could be a problem. Also, with those kind of things, because you have much more traction, the snake may have a harder time pulling the food away and may just let it go. With the chopsticks, I'm not an expert chopstick user, so I can't hold the food that tight. The baby can easily pull it away. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start out with a live pinky mouse, and I have one right here in this container. We're going to pick him up. That's him there. Okay. And we're going to place him so that we have him with his feet in front and his head facing, so that we can kind of turn the mouse around if we need to. It's best to try and get the snake to eat the mouse from its head, if you can. It's not crucial, but try and present the head of the snake to the mouse first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can elicit some kind of a response out of this baby, okay? He knows we're here, there's no question about it. He may not be that hungry, and I may not continue to feed him if he doesn't respond well. So I'm going to wake him up a little bit. I'm going to tap him. I'm going to move the mouse around in front of his nose. I'm going to run it across his body. If you see that the snake is showing interest in the mouse, like this one is here, he's showing interest in this mouse. He's coming at it. A lot of people will dart and dash the mouse all over the place. That doesn't help a whole lot. That just tends to scare the snake a bit. Let's see, I've even lost interest with him in doing it. But I can tap him again, tap him a little bit, and see if I can get his interest back. Okay, let's see. Maybe you can see better that way. That's better, yeah. Okay, so I've got his interest. He's looking at the mouse. I'm touching him. I'm not threatening him. You don't want to threaten the snake. I've got him flicking his tongue here. He's coming out looking at it. He's flicking his tongue. Sometimes this can take a a long time, 15, 20